Welcome back, everybody, to the Celtic Hammer Club pub. The last few episodes have been in my kitchen where I was brewing beer. We're now back in the pub where we can finally try out and talk about the efforts we made in the kitchen in the last couple of episodes. If you're new to this series of episodes, my name is Doug Cavanaugh. I am a participant in the Celtic Festival Online. I'm an artisan. I also like to make my own beer and also mead. And I like to contribute and talk about what I do with that when I'm not making artwork. So if you have been following episode 3, I brewed an Oktoberfest style beer. You can go back and check that out. It's all on Celtic Festival Online's Facebook page. If you're new, you can go back and check that out as well. But here are the fruits of the labor from that episode. This is our Oktoberfest style beer. And the lighting here is not the best, but you can see it's orange in color, which is appropriate for this time of year. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Oktoberfest festival. It's world renowned in Bavaria, Germany. They have a cultural festival where they serve a lot of beer, a lot of German culture, and it's celebrated at the end of September into the first Sunday of October, and that's where this style of beer comes from. Why do we keep calling it a style as opposed to it's just Oktoberfest? Well, there's actually a reason for that. If you're familiar with like champagne, it's supposed to be called Prosecco unless it's actually made in the Champagne region of France. Same thing with American whiskey. It's only technically bourbon if it's made in Bourbon County, Kentucky. Same thing with Oktoberfest beer. There are only 6 breweries that are authorized, and they're in the Munich, Bavaria area, that are authorized to make actual Bavarian Oktoberfest beer. Anything else is Oktoberfest style. So since I'm obviously not a brewer in Munich, Bavaria that has been approved by the Brewers Guild of Germany, this is technically an Oktoberfest style. But that being said, what is this beer actually like? So we already said it's orange in color, relatively darker. That can actually change depending on who's brewing it. It can be a little lighter, all the way. This is actually pretty dark for the style. But it tends to be like orange in color. That comes from the malts that are used, the grain that actually makes the beer. It's something called a caramel malt. So that imparts the color. It imparts a certain caramel flavor. It also imparts a certain bready and almost like a toast flavor, which is really delicious. This is one of my favorite styles of beer. I've actually never made one of these before. It's my first time, so I'm excited for that. Some cool history behind Oktoberfest beer. The original Oktoberfest festival was celebrated again in Munich, Germany. The prince at the time, Prince Ludwig, who would become the king, married his bride, invited all the citizens of Munich to attend, and over the years it kept up and became a cultural festival. At the time, the beer that was brewed was very dark, and the technology for making the malt was not so great, so they could only make dark malt. It probably would have been even darker than this. But as time went on, technology improved, they learned how to make different styles of beer, and culturally it evolved into a style that we now call the Oktoberfest style. Again, it is kind of orange in color, low in hops, caramel, bready, and toasty and characteristic. It's an awesome way to enjoy this season. I love the fall. For those of you that love it too, I normally end this episode with Sláinte, but I think it's appropriate to say Prost. See you next time.